name is Emma and welcome to The Message Today, Series 3, Episode 3, where we're going to be looking at the topic of consent. This week we have Amongst Walls as our special guests, music from Galactus Jack, and Henry will be sharing his story.
Hey, what's happening? I'm Daniel, and this week is a sensitive topic. So if you have any questions from this session, why not write them down and talk to your group with your teachers or leaders afterwards? If you are personally struggling with anything we talk about, please do think of an adult you trust that you can talk to ASAP. This might be a parent or guardian, a youth leader, or member of staff at your school.
If we're going to look at the subject of consent, it will help us first to look at what sex is and then the difference between love and lust. Amongst Wolves quoted in the Relationships and Sex episode back in Series 2 the Respect Me definition on sex. Sex is an intimate display of love between two people who are in a committed relationship where they feel safe and where there's trust, value and respect. They went on to say that it's important to remember when talking about sex that consent should always be given. The episode also helped us to understand what a healthy relationship looks like. If you've not seen it, you may want to.
The website A Conscious Rethink tells us that love is described as a deep feeling of affection that you have for another person. It's a lasting attraction that goes beyond the surface and turns into an emotional attachment. Whereas lust, on the other hand, is basically a physical attraction that leads to an overwhelming feeling of sexual desire thanks to a rush of hormones.
The problem is that some people still don't know the difference. However, Kush and Wisdom produced a quote by an unknown author, making it very simple. The desire of love is to give, the desire of lust is to take.
Let's start this episode by watching a video created by Granger Community Church, which should help us to understand the difference.
The website Healthline say the issue of consent has been pushed to the forefront of public discussion over the past year, not just in the United States but around the world. Following numerous reports of high-profile incidents of sexual assault and the development of the #MeToo movement, one thing has become increasingly clear. We urgently need more education and discussion about consent.
While celebrity names like Bill Cosby, Harvey Weinstein, and Kevin Spacey have been included in the conversation about consent, the reality is that 1 in 3 women and 1 in 6 men in the United States experience sexual violence in their lifetime.
We are doing slightly better in the UK, but the stats given by the Home Office still state that 1 in 5 women, that's 20% of women, and 4% of men will experience sexual assault from the age of 16 in the UK. This number needs to change, which is why we are looking at this topic today.
It is really important that we understand what consent is, so let's see what our students around the UK had to say.
Consent is asking someone for permission to do something.
It's when you agree to something, like you give your consent.
Allowing another person to do something, doesn't have to be sex.
Willingly agreeing to something. Like an agreement with someone, you've given someone permission.
You give permission.
Giving permission for pretty much anything personal.
Can I come in your house? Yeah, that's consent, sort of thing.
Thanks, guys. We love hearing your insight on these episodes each week. Up next to share their thoughts on today's topic from the Message Trust, it's Dan, Mark, Clarissa and Andy from Amongst Wolves.
What's up, guys? We're Amongst Wolves. My name is Dan. This is Andy, Clarissa and Mark. We're a band from Manchester. We also do some stuff on YouTube, so why don't you go check us out. Now, we're here today to talk with you guys about consent.
Seminole State College defines consent as giving permission to someone. Consent means agreeing to an action based on your knowledge of what that action involves and its likely consequences, and having the option to say no. Consent is a very important part of any sexual relationship.
It's important to know that a person can only give informed consent if they have the capacity or have been given adequate information to enable them to make an informed decision and have been given a reasonable opportunity to make the decision. In other words, they need to know and understand what they are consenting to, and they have been given the time to consider it fully.
As Christians, we read in the Bible that Jesus commands us to love others in the same way that we would love ourselves. A big part of loving others is putting their needs before our own. This means we need to respect their decisions and honour how they feel. If someone simply doesn't want to do something, that is a completely valid reason for not doing it, and we need to respect that. Make sure you are loving those around you to the best of your ability by respecting them, and if you're unsure about anything, there is no shame at all in asking for clarity.
Thank you guys for joining us on today's lesson. If you want to go check out our YouTube channel, Amongst Wolves, we massively appreciate that. We upload some real stupid stuff. We go live. We also upload music videos and loads of stuff like that. Hopefully see you there. Catch you around.
There are many other words that mean consent that may help you to get your head around the concept. Words and phrases like authorization, permission, understanding, a green light or stamp of approval. Bottom line, we should want to respect other people's decisions.
Disrespectnobody.co.uk say there's a person attached to everybody. Respect both. They go on to say that healthy relationships are all about respecting each other. You should feel loved, safe and free to be yourself. Relationships can be confusing and it can be difficult to understand what is and isn't normal behaviour.
But disrespectful and unacceptable behavior can come in many forms. It isn't limited to just physical behavior. It can also go way beyond that. For example, it's not okay for someone to try and pressure you into sending a nude pic or expect the same things they see in porn. If someone makes you do something you don't want to do, makes you feel scared, intimidated, or tries controlling you, it's not the one. It's not acceptable and it's never okay.
Let's watch their video called Disrespect Nobody. You may have seen this campaign on TV already.
I want to have sex, but how can I tell when I'm not welcome?
If they've pushed you away but you still have sex, that's not consent, it's rape.
If they freeze or go silent, that's still not consent.
She may have said yes in the past, but if it's not a yes every time, not consent, rape.
But if we're going out, doesn't that mean they like me?
Probably, but that might not mean they want to have sex.
You still need consent, even if you're in a relationship. Yeah, seriously. Without consent, it's rape.
You only have consent if you both actually want to have sex.
Disrespect nobody.
We asked our students if they had ever done something that they regretted because they felt that they couldn't say no. Let's hear their response.
Yeah, I think everyone has. Even with, like, from big situations to little situations, like dares and stuff, like you just do it because you're like, oh yeah, I think you're cool, and then it's just like not cool, and then you're just like, oh, I wish I didn't do that.
No, I don't think so. I'm kind of the type of person, if I want to do it, I'll do it. If I don't want to do it, I'm not going to do it.
If there's a situation where I'm not comfortable, I usually say no. I feel like I've got that, confidence with myself if I'm in a situation to say no.
I've done everything I wanted to do. I don't if it gets to a point where I don't want to do it, I'll just straight up say no, stop. So
Yeah, every time someone puts dessert in front of me. Just when I'm thinking, do not eat that cake, and then it's like, oh god, I'll have a cheeky slice. And I should have said no.
So when I was dating, I got pressured into something that I obviously wasn't ready for yet, and it kind of weirded me out a little bit because it was just uncomfortable for me because this was only like my second relationship and it had been like 2 months, and I got pressured into something that I didn't totally feel comfortable with, but I thought maybe I have to do it because that's what a good boyfriend does, and still to this day I regret it. So don't get peer pressured, it sucks.
I went out for cocktails with my cousin once for my birthday, and it was bottomless cocktails, so obviously I could not say no. I had that one too many drinks, and I did regret it in the end because I was just throwing up. That one was just like, it just tipped it over, tipping point, like I was done out. I was just chucking up.
I can understand why people get pressured into doing things why they don't want to. I just think if I could speak to anybody that has ever pressured anyone into doing anything that they don't want to do, I think you are a silly individual and you should stop.
I don't know about you, Daniel, but I find it really hard to say no to another chocolate or no to staying up late to watching another Marvel movie. But it seems fun at the time, but I also know that I pay the price on my hips and being tired the next day. But when it comes to sexual consent, no means no.
Let's find out from Lauren what the quote of the day is.
Tina Sequeira is an award-winning author and poet based in India. She said this: boy, girl, man or woman, no means no. It could be a yes yesterday, but a no today, and that is perfectly valid. I love this. No means no. Consent can be reversed, and we all need to respect that.
It's important to be aware of the laws surrounding sex and sexual consent in the UK. There should never be a grey area. A person now has to prove that they got a yes, not a no, under the new tough rape rules, ensuring they had their partner's full, happy, enthusiastic consent before engaging in any kind of sexual activity, and that's every time.
According to Fries, consent is freely given, reversible, informed, enthusiastic, and specific. This acronym was coined by Planned Parenthood in order to provide a clear and easy way to remember the definition of consent when it comes to sex and intimacy.
Keeping on the topic of the law, here's a question for you. What is the age of consent for sex in England? Yes, you are right, it is 16. It's also important to know that anybody under the age of 13 is not legally capable of consenting to sexual activity. This is an offence under the Sexual Offences Act 2003.
Second question, when else can a person not give consent? Yeah, you got it correct again. When that person is drunk. If you are incapacitated from alcohol or other drugs, a person cannot give consent. They may say they want to, but you should never go ahead. If you really care for them, get them to a safe place quickly, ideally their home where their guardians are.
Let's take a look at some facts and stats with Adam and Destiny.
In the US, WorldPopulationReview.com report that only 9% of rapists in the US get prosecuted, and only 3% of rapists will spend a day in prison. 97% of rapists in the United States will walk free. How unjust is that?
The year ending March 2018, the UK had almost 70,000 rape incidents and crimes recorded. South Africa has the highest rate of rape in the world, with around 78,000 victims each year.
The Crime Survey of England and Wales for 2017 found that for the majority of female victims of rape or assault by penetration, including attempts, the offender was a partner or ex-partner, or someone who was known to them in some other way than as a partner or a family member. Only 13% of female victims reported the offender as a stranger. If you've been affected by any of this stuff, please do make sure that you're talking to an adult that you can trust and getting the help and support you need.
WorldPopulationReview.com reported that approximately 35% of women worldwide have experienced sexual harassment in their lifetime. In most countries with data available on rape, less than 40% of women who experience sexual violence seek help.
Estimates from the Crime Survey of England and Wales for the year ending March 2020 showed that 2.2% of adults aged 16 to 59 years had experienced sexual assault, including attempted offences, in the latest year. The number of sexual offences recorded by the police showed little change from the previous year, a reduction of only 100 cases. But the year ending March 2020 was the first year since 2012 with no increase.
The ONS reported that sexual offences fell by 24% in April to June 2020, compared with the same period in 2019. This could and probably was largely influenced by the first COVID lockdown.
Thanks, Adam and Destiny. Up next is My Story, the part in the programme where we hear someone's personal experience. Today, we have Henry.
I grew up in a really loving home with my mum and my dad, who are both Christians, and I was a really happy and confident kid. Unfortunately, that all changed one night when I went to stay at an older friend's house and he sexually abused me. I suddenly went from being this happy, carefree kid to being a boy who didn't understand my worth and who believed that I only existed to be used by other people. All of my dignity and control over my own body was suddenly stolen from me in that one moment. And because of this, I felt so worthless. Growing up, I believed that the only worth I had was in how I made other people feel. Because of this, I got into relationships that existed based on what I could do for the other person, whether that was sexually or emotionally. I didn't care how I felt as long as I was making the other person feel good. And that left me feeling so worthless and broken and without any boundaries whatsoever. I let people do what they wanted to me, and to be honest, I expected other people to let me do the same to them. To try and numb the pain of this, I got into drugs and alcohol and pornography in an attempt to drown out the shame that I was feeling, but it didn't work. I'd been brought up going to church, but since the moment that I was abused, I'd spent my life running away from God, because I didn't think that I was worthy of His love. And to be honest, I didn't know if I wanted it. I thought He would be like all the others that forced their way into my life, took what they wanted and left. But actually, He was the one that stood at the door of my heart and knocked, waiting for me to let Him in. He was the one who asked for my consent, because He's the one who respects me. He asked and I said yes. And that in itself was really powerful for me, that someone respected me and my choices enough to ask my permission before they started a friendship with me. The Bible teaches us that God made heaven and earth. He made every part of me, and yet He still waited for my permission before He came into my heart. And that's amazing. Since saying yes to Jesus, He's shown me that it was never His plan for me to be abused. He's shown me that I'm His son, that He loves me and that He's proud of me. He's shown me that I have worth and that I am worth other people respecting me and my boundaries. He's shown me that I'm not dirty or damaged, but that I'm precious and beautiful. I don't know what's happened to you in your life. Maybe things have happened to you that you didn't consent to. Maybe people have come into your life and disrespected all of your boundaries. And if that's happened to you, then I'm really, really sorry. You should never have had to go through that. If that has happened to you, then please speak to an adult that you trust. For me, it took me a long time to tell people about what happened to me, and that was really painful. And I don't want you to have to go through the same. So please, if you can, be brave and reach out to someone, even the teachers that are in your class. I want you to know that how you've been treated does not define your worth. I believe that God loves me and He loves you exactly as you are. Know that you are worth everything, and don't let anyone treat you any less. My name's Henry Taylor, and this is my story.
Thanks, Henry, for sharing such a personal and sensitive story with us. As we said in the beginning, if you have any questions from this session, why not talk about it in your groups afterwards? Also, if your teacher or leader would like to extend this session, you can now access the questions that accompany this episode by following the link in the description on YouTube.
If you're personally struggling with any of the content, please do think of an adult that you can trust, that you can talk to ASAP. Don't wait. Rape crisis centres provide specialist support and services to women and girls who have experienced rape, sexual violence or sexual abuse at any time. Mind also have a great page with many agencies to signpost you to that can support those who have faced or are facing sexual abuse. If an offence has taken place, then the police are always available for you to make any reports, but make sure you have a trusted adult with you for support.
There are many other great websites and charities that we can signpost you to that can inform and support you moving forward. So why don't you check some of them out, like COOF, Young Minds, Childline, the Lily Joe Project, and The Mix.
Don't forget, many of the bands that you see on The Message today are releasing new content on their socials every week. Every month, all the Message Trust bands get together for one massive show called Higher Live. The band's YouTube channels are on the screen, so why don't you check them out today?
We're going to leave you with Galactus Jack featuring Soulbox with their music video, I Got You. It talks about someone having your back in tough times. So my last question to you is this: who's got your back? Maybe reach out to them today. Have a great week, and we will see you soon.
I guess the dream arrived too soon. You couldn't feel this love as true. You let your heart believe the lies, thinking once upon a times weren't made for you. Oh, when holding on is hard for you, it's okay, okay. I got strength for two. Don't let me get away, away. I don't want you to be afraid. I just can't seem to walk away. I meant what I said. I meant what I said. I don't want you to be afraid. I just can't seem to walk away, even if it breaks my heart in two. I meant what I said when I told you I got you. Time can't heal, but it brings perspective. So if it's time you need, how could I resent it? Hey, I don't want you to I said. I don't want you to be afraid. I just can't seem to walk away. Even if it breaks my heart in two, I meant what I said when I told you I got you. I meant what I said. I don't want you to be afraid. I just can't seem to walk away. Even if it breaks my heart in two, I meant what I said when I told you I got you.